Welcome to the 5G podcast.
We're glad you're here.
We hope you enjoy our conversation about God, guns, games, goals, and gastronomy.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode.
Let's run it back. Let's get rolling. Lots to talk about today.
Lots to talk about today.
Big news week.
Big news. GameStop has valued the One Ring card that what's his bucket bought for what's his name?
Post Malone
bought for $2 million.
Right.
They valued the card at a whopping. It's absolutely insane. It's crazy. I don't understand how they got this valuation. One of a kind card, but they valued it at a whopping $3.
$3.
Yeah. Three total dollars
for the trade-in value.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you have two of them, you can walk out with like one of the $5 like the discount games.
Yep.
At GameStop. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Two one-of-a-kind cards. That the last sale was $2 million. To a famous person.
Can get you like one Xbox game from 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Or a good common card.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can be a quarter of your way onto building a pauper deck.
I thought it was very, very funny.
Yeah, well, so you sent me that article as a joke, kind of like a satire type thing, obviously, but I didn't know GameStop. The true part of the story is they legitimately have started like grading cards and taking trade-ins.
Yes,
like GameStop is trying to branch out since games are so digital now.
Yeah, it's interesting because it goes into the next article we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. But yeah, GameStop they've always dealt with physical stuff, right? Yeah. But they're trying to become more of a total game store, not just a video game store like they previously had kind of been.
They've been expanding their merch a lot in the past, heck, even 10 years, like because they want other draws, like other reasons to bring people in.
Yeah.
But now they're branching into trading cards.
Yeah, and this article was not a satirical article. It was a dead serious article.
Mm-hmm.
And they legitimately did grade the card for $3.
That's insane.
And offered $3 for it. The article, what they were saying was like, hey, GameStop, if you're gonna do this, how about we do it correctly?
Let's educate you a little bit on the hobby.
There's an app called TGC Player.
You can just scan it.
You can scan the card and it tells you how much it's worth. And if it says 1/1 on it, probably means it's a lot.
Probably means you shouldn't even be using the app at that point.
Yeah.
Get an expert in.
Yeah. If someone comes in with a bulletproof case with that card in it, probably worth more than $3.
Yeah. That's the rule. It's got to be worth more than the case, the protection around it. I mean, that's...
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, justifiably so.
As a general rule of thumb.
Yeah. I have some old Star Wars cards that are gold foiled.
Ooh, okay.
And my mom got them for me for Christmas years ago. And they're all graded by, I don't remember what company it is. It's either PSA or one of the other big ones. But they're graded and stuff like that. And I would be curious to know what they would give me for those. Yeah.
You're like, I don't know. They're just like Star Wars or whatever. Who even cares about that?
Yeah. So, well, they're like the original like collector's cards that you like from like the 80s.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay.
So they're really cool. But yeah, like
GameStop branching out into trading cards is not.
Well, if they were able to do that, it'd be hard for them. But also, they have a very good infrastructure on them to do it with already, right? They already have locations. They already have, store space. They know how to run a business. They
only almost went bankrupt once. It's pretty good.
And I think right now I heard something because their stock price has gone through the roof again because of stupid people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not stupid people. People who've made interesting choices financially.
There you go.
Because a lot of the people that do it are not stupid. But because their stock price has gone up so much, they've actually been like reallocating their debt.
Oh, interesting.
And have been like, I think they've been like paying off like billions of dollars worth of debt.
Good
by selling these shares, basically, right? Which is like, hey,
good for them.
If you can be a zero leverage company Like at that point, it doesn't matter how much you make as long as you cover cost, you know, which is like
it's all profit from there.
Yeah. It's interesting. I shared the article with you. I was just like, what do you think? Like, do you think that GameStop should get into the physical card realm? Or do you think that you should just leave it to your local game store and not have some conglomerate?
I want to say I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, because I mean they already have locations. Yeah, that's probably fine. I don't know. There's so many like small time or small business like game stores. I don't know. I don't want to turn into a small business versus big business, but a lot of local game stores are not run well. They're not run by business people. They're run by people with passion for the hobby. And so you kind of see tons of local game stores just rise and fall. Whereas GameStop, it's been around for decades. So they're probably not going to fall anytime soon. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know if it's a full-on replacement because you can't like play there. So you do still need your local game store for the community, I think. Unless GameStop starts doing that. But as far as going there to like buy your singles and buy your products, yeah, I don't think I have a problem with
Especially if you can pick up a One Ring for $3.
Well, that's
the One Ring.
If the prices are good, hey, I'm all there.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I wonder if it'll create if they get enough of it going. I wonder if they create a secondary market that's cheaper than the primary market for trading cards.
Yeah,
where it's like you can just bring in all your chaff, and they give you a penny for each one. When in reality, they're not even worth that on like TCG Play or whatever.
Yeah, just because of like shipping costs and everything.
And then
they can turn around and sell things for 10 cents, a quarter.
Yeah, and then like you also have like the thing where it's like, oh yeah, you know, these expensive cards, and someone's going to bring in a box of their bazillion cards and just say, I want to sell all of these.
Yeah, you give them GameStop credit.
Yeah, and then GameStop turns around and sells it for a profit for them, but you know, maybe a card that's normally $5 gets sold for $3.
Woo. But you don't care about that overall, yeah.
They don't, but like a player, like if you can
totally loves the discount.
Yeah, they got almost 50% discount on the card from buying it anywhere else, because most local game stores use TCG Player or another card market system to set their prices.
And it's, you bring up a good point, because speaking as a consumer, someone in the space, I've done that where it feels cool to like at your local game store, you're digging through the bargain bin of like, and the store's just like, every card's in a quarter because I don't want to sort it. I don't want to organize it. You're digging through and you find like, oh, this card's like $2. The dopamine hit feels kind of cool. You're getting a great bargain. Paying 25 cents for $2 isn't that much, but to you, it's more than the store. The store doesn't care about it. It wasn't worth the time to get an employee to sort through and pull out the $2 card. The one time I got scammed was when I pulled out like a $40 card. And I went to go check out, and they were like, oh, no, you can't have that. I was like, you put it in the bargain bin. Like, everyone knows this card is obvious. It was like from the most recent set at that point. I was like, I don't know how you guys missed this, but whatever, keep it. I'm not paying $40 for it.
Yeah.
I can do that online. Like, I wanted a deal.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I wonder if they turn into like a nerd. I mean, they already are a nerd store, right? But like, a deep nerd,
the deep nerds,
like the Magic the Gathering, trading card games, Warhammer type thing.
Yeah, they don't have like the play space. Like I said, most of their storefronts are usually like in malls or whatever.
But the thing is though, what they could do is they could go to any of these companies, Wizards of the Coast, Games Workshop, any company that produces that stuff, and because they'd be such a big bulk buyer, because they'd be buying for thousands of stores.
True.
They could go and say, okay, you're going to give us a discount to put your product on our shelves. Yeah. And then they can go ahead and sell it at a discount. If you get a 10% discount over your local game store, it's like, you can't go play there, but you're going to go buy there.
Go buy there and then go play at your local game store. Yeah. Like, that's where it's like, oh, kids maybe see that as a negative.
Yeah.
Like if they drive local game stores out of business, but I don't think they will. because most of the profit from talking to local game store owners, most of the profit is in them running events anyway. Is like admission fees.
Sure.
They don't make a whole lot off of the products. They have to sell a lot of products because that's like you have to buy a whole bunch when every set releases, and that kind of puts you in the red, and then you have to sell it all up. But a lot of your like actual net profit is just, hey, we bought chairs and tables.
Yeah.
It was a one-time purchase, so every admission fee is just green.
Yeah, that's a good point. After you pay for those tables and chairs, everything is green after that. Yeah.
And the space, the rent. But like, again, it's I think it would be okay. I think GameStop and local game stores can be like a healthy
ecosystem. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. It's interesting. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. I'm all for it.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. The next article that I shared with you.
Yeah. Speaking on the nerd topics.
Yeah.
Nerds plus finance.
It's kind of my favorite crossover that we do on this. On this show.
On this show, we're gonna do a new mini show. We're gonna have the
Nerd Finance Show.
Yeah, the bi-weekly financial nerd podcast.
I'm down. Nerf. Nerd Finance.
Nerf this.
Nerf. Beat that.
It's Nerf for nothing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I sent you an article about WotC, Wizards of the Coast.
Good old Hasbro.
And it was about Hasbro. Sorry, it was
because WotC was their cash cow on that.
Yeah. So
Q2 earnings.
Q2 2024, they had earnings. Excuse me. Of a net income of $138.5 million.
That's right.
Which is significant when compared to their previous
Q1, right?
Q2 earnings of last year.
Oh, okay.
Right, which were $234.9 million in the negative.
Mm-hmm.
So their swing is roughly $300 million of swing, which is significant.
Very, very good.
It's significant.
Year to year.
The thing that was interesting to me was that Hasbro's CEO, I didn't realize his name was so horrible.
Chris Cockles?
Chris Cox.
Oh, Cox. I thought it was Cockles.
Nope. COCKS. At least that's what CNBC has reported his name as.
Yeah, okay.
That's who this article is
At
from
least
CNBC.
Cockles, that's just like the lower part.
Yeah,
of your
Cockles will be fine,
that's
but
normal.
Cox is
not COX. Like that's a normal last name too.
Yeah, no, this is just it's literally
just Cox.
Like, yeah,
he's not. We can't say that. This is a kid-friendly show. Can't even say his last name.
It's true.
Anyway, sorry, go on. Hasbro CEO.
Yeah, so he has said that during the company's earning call that Hasbro is going all in on digital gaming. That is a quote from the article. My question, so let me frame this question and then I'll ask it.
Yeah.
Hasbro is a board game, tabletop game, trading card game company.
Yeah.
Monopoly, Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons,
My Little Pony.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And Transformers. I think they own Transformers now.
I did know that. Yeah. So
probably some of the big ones.
They're a physical asset company, right? Mm-hmm. They sell physical assets.
Yeah.
Or physical things, right?
They've always been toys and games and
And this all in on digital seems like a dumb idea to me,
or at least a bit premature.
So I guess my question to you was, do you think that Hasbro is losing the plot on what their business is?
Right.
And do you think it's going to be good or bad for them?
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a finance guy.
But this isn't really a finance question. It's more of a culture question, right?
That's what I'm trying to think. I'm like, the numbers don't lie. Are they saying they've already been focusing on digital, or like, moving forward, or or moving forward, we're going to start focusing more on digital? I guess you just gave me his direct quote. He said, we're going all in.
So I'll read you more here.
Yeah.
Wizards of the Coast and digital gaming segment saw 20% revenue growth.
Yeah, okay. Whereas all the other ones were kind of down, I think.
This partially offset a drop in consumer product revenue of 20%, as well as a decline in the company's entertainment segment of 90%.
Yeah.
But that's because they divested from their production studio.
Oh, okay. Making all the animated My Little Ponies or whatever. It's intriguing, but I don't know how they do digital sales for some of these things. Like Wizards of the Coast kind of needs to sell paper Magic the Gathering cards, and I guess they don't need to sell paper D&D products, but they do. They do sell a lot. In fact, sometimes they get you because they sell the paper products and then also the digital products. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't quite seem like they can do that. Maybe it's just CEO speak, corporate BS, but like Hasbro is still like toys and games. I think it still needs to be pretty.
Yeah.
Unless they're just, paper Magic is done, which, to be fair, it is kind of done since COVID. They're only just now getting back to like actual events. But if they just went all in on Magic Arena, they're like, we're digital only. You have to come play on Magic Arena.
I think that if they went Magic Arena only, it'd kill the game.
Yeah, exactly. I think it barely survived COVID. Commander kept it alive. It's been a huge format since 2020. People had to play
at home
digitally, casually, because all the professional events were done. And Magic Arena, again, wasn't professional, but it was really your only way to get like 1v1 competitive formats. Streamers are playing that, but not like huge. Yeah, again, like D&D, you could do all digital D&D. I think would maybe be okay.
But my question is, like, for D&D,
what do you sell?
What do you sell that's digital?
The PDF, the rule book.
It's like, okay, but if I'm going to spend $25 on a PDF, I might as well go spend $30 on a nice book.
Oh, well, their books are $60, but
no.
Yeah.
How much are the PDFs?
$35, I think.
So $25 difference? Is that the math right there? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it depends on what it is, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah, I don't. Yeah,
like, it's a big difference when a DM has like the book and the screen up and stuff like that versus like his laptop.
Yeah,
it's like
I got all the PDFs.
It's like
that's what they want to use D&D Beyond as. It's just their digital database of everything. Like,
yeah. It's interesting. I think that they've lost the plot.
Sure.
I think that people are too inundated with digital stuff right now, and that they want to have the physical card, the physical. I'm playing with a real person in my life, like
the connection
against across a table, you know.
And you're a hobby company, so people want to, they want to share the hobby with other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
socialize.
I just think they need to. If I were the CEO of WotC or Wizards or Hasbro, Hasbro would be difficult because I don't know the other stuff well enough, right?
Yeah.
But at least WotC, I would say,
gotta be physical.
Yeah, we're physical. Like, I think the idea of Magic Arena is a good one, but I think what they should do is they should make it they should have the cards in a database, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they should have two versions of the game.
Sure.
One where you can play against a bot. So one where how it is right now, right? Where it's you have cards, you still have to pay for those digital assets, cards or card packs or whatever, right? And then you play versus a real human.
Yeah.
Or you get all of the assets in the game, every single card, to build a deck and use it as a deck building tester against an AI.
Yeah, or let you just play against your friends too, I think.
Well, I mean, that would be okay too, but I think if they did that, because for example, me, if I were able to go in and just have every single card that's ever been printed there and build a deck, right? And I say, I'm going to build a commander deck and I want it to have this, 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 and this, and then maybe have some card suggestions in there, just to like help fill it in. And then be able to test it against an AI, because like then you don't have to say like, okay, I'm going to spend however many minutes, an hour or whatever, 2 hours, 3 hours putting this deck together, and then I'm only going to proxy it, but I'm going to print it out, and it's going to take time for me to cut it out and do all this stuff, and then I go and play the deck and it sucks.
Right.
It's like, well, this is just a waste of time. I could have spent 30 minutes building the deck on my Magic the Gathering Arena app, playing against an AI and realizing, wow, this really sucks.
This is a bad idea. Scrap it. What you're describing is something that's really interesting in gaming that doesn't get done a whole lot anymore, is basically just give the players the modding tools. Just let your players be the developer. You give them open access to, in this case, all the Magic the Gathering cards. Again, you can build decks, you can proxy things. I mentioned, playing against other people. You can build custom formats, custom rules. It's just open source, open modding tools. Something you don't see a whole lot anymore. I think, I don't know, maybe people got more stingy with copyrights, but Blizzard was a champion of this back in the day. Most notoriously, people could create any custom map they wanted because they just, when you installed the game, you just had all of the developer modding tools. And so people made custom games, and Dota was the most popular one to come out of that. Still is.
Well, Dota 2, I guess.
That style of games was a mod on Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
StarCraft, same thing, custom maps. And like, that was phenomenal. That was really cool. Other games have done it since then, but it has really fallen off of like, now there's like Steam integration, and some games let you mod, but not, most like big AAA games don't, because they're like very protective of the assets or whatever. But I'm all for it. I'm all for just putting as much power in the hands of the player. Like, they bought the game, let them do what they want with it, so long as it's not competitive or whatever, like, or they're not actually making money off of it.
Yeah, if they're making money, obviously, like, you have to protect your IP, right?
Yeah.
But I think that if they opened it up where there obviously can be still an official segment where it's like you had to pay for these assets. But if I were able, I would download that app in an instant if I were able to go in, build any deck, Pauper, Modern, Pioneer, Commander, play it against an AI, set the difficulty level of the AI, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, I think
give them the deck that you want to play against.
Whatever it is. Be able to play that deck and figure out like, okay, I need more of this. I need more of this.
That would be fun. I have fond memories as a kid of playing Neverwinter Nights, which was one of the first like D&D video games. It was Dungeons and Dragons, but all the dice rolling was just behind the scenes. It just looked like a third-person like action RPG, but it was actually turn-based combat and exploration and interaction with the environment. I have fond memories of using the custom mode on Neverwinter Nights. You can make your own campaigns, your own NPCs, your own monsters, make your own magic items, and just do whatever you wanted, and then play out your campaign module. It was huge. It was awesome. I was probably like 6 years old, and most of the time I just like gave myself the most OP weapons and then fought giant dragons. But
hey, you had a great time doing it.
I had a great time. But anyone who was older than me or more skilled than me back then could make a whole game off of that formula, off of because they just gave the power to the players. And so same thing with Magic. That would be phenomenal. You can just make your own format. Make your own game. Players are happy.
So I think that
keep your hobby alive.
I think that Wizards of the Coast, and then also going back to the whole local game store idea or thought we had earlier, is they just need to have way more events.
Oh, totally.
They just need to have way more Wizards of the Coast sponsored events.
I agree.
And the Wizards of the Coast needs to give out free product to any game store that does these events.
Get
right?
people to the events,
And you could have like a big once a month event, and do it where it's like, oh yeah, we do an event every month of a modern championship, and then if there's like one guy who's won X amount of the games, he goes to like the national championship like tournament or whatever.
Sure.
And that WotC throws wherever
once a year.
You know?
Yeah, because my I know we said at the beginning, like, admission cost keeps the local game stores alive, but at this point, like, I'm not paying $60 just to go, like, play in some random store's thing and maybe walk away with a pack or two. Like,
no, for sure not.
There's not big enough events, and admission prices are too steep because, like, their card prices are going up. I don't know. I'm sure there's tons of factors, but, like, I'm not paying the price of, like, a full video game to go play Magic for a couple hours.
Yeah, I know, for sure not.
There's no draw for me.
Especially when you can just go print the cards online for $3 from Staples or whatever.
Yeah, just to play the game.
And then play the game with your buddies at the kitchen table.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pay $60 to have to go use real cards.
Yeah.
Or I can pay
not a real good draw.
$13 for sleeves and the cards.
Yeah.
And play with my buddies at home for free for the same amount of time.
It's like the same amount of enjoyment. I mean, we don't have prizes on our casual Magic, so that's why you're right. There's got to be like a big event, some hype. Yeah.
Anyway,
build the community.
I think that Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro in general, I think they need to go all in on their big IPs and not do, like, to be fair though, if they did decide to do a huge digital thing, they should go all in on a Transformers video game.
Yeah.
And make it like a good video game.
They've had some okay ones, but no big releases. Yeah.
But like, I just feel like that IP is good enough where it's like, yes, you could make an adult, not like sexual content, but like violent video game as a Transformers. Like, imagine like a Dark Souls as a Transformers character instead.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like Dark Souls, you're Optimus Prime.
Just Optimus Prime.
Like, come on.
Yeah. Kind of edgy, like dark fantasy.
Yeah. Except techno sci-fi.
Yeah.
You know? I like that would do pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway.
On to the next company that we can rip into, Ubisoft. Ubisoft had their like Q2 or their earnings call. Is that what that one's called? With the shareholders, and the audio got leaked from it.
Oh, I did. Yeah,
it was very, very funny to hear this week. The shareholders are like, yeah, so can you tell us about how the pre-order sales for your two big games are going, Assassin's Creed Shadows and Star Wars Outlaws? And the Ubisoft guy is like, we can't say exactly how the pre-orders are going, but yeah, these are our big game releases this year. It's going to be big. There's like, can you elaborate on that for a little bit? Oh yeah, these games are going to be great. Yeah, but
they're very highly anticipated.
But what about the money?
Yeah.
So yeah, I have the only thing I had briefly on Star Wars Outlaws was seeing some of the gameplay footage this week.
It looks horrible.
It looks abysmal.
Yeah.
Looks like a PlayStation 3 game.
Ooh, yikes, that's rough.
Yeah, from 12, 15 years ago, like that's bad. Yeah. The explosions are like not pixelated, but they look pretty bad.
They don't look integrated. It's like the flat surface and it's like floating above it.
Yeah. Like it's two-dimensional if you like went to the side, like old Counter-Strike smoke.
Yeah.
So I saw that gameplay footage, like, oh yikes! This is why no pre-orders. We don't do pre-orders.
No pre-orders.
No weapon pre-orders. And then Assassin's Creed Shadows, the other highly anticipated game from Ubisoft. They came out with a statement this week. I did some more research. The Japanese government, I think, decided to drop it. They were like, whatever. I don't know if that was after Ubisoft came out with their response. But it was initially, I looked this up, it was the Japanese, what is the name? They have a name of the ministry. The Japanese Education Ministry.
That sounds like a 1984 type thing.
Yeah, right? Re-education. No, so yeah, they decided to drop it. They're like, hey, all right, it's I guess they determined it was enough. It wasn't culturally appropriating, or maybe because they did enough investigations, and then Ubisoft came out and said, they admitted, they're like, all right, we know this is fictional, because all of the investigations found that, again, the one journalist who wrote about if you haven't watched our latest episodes, Yasuke, the Black Samurai, they did investigations in that, and it is all kind of bunk.
Yeah.
Like, again, the very convincing argument I heard from all the research was that like the amount of time he was with a famous samurai before that samurai like died is like less than a year. Like he bought him as a slave from Africa, and then he ended up dying in a famous battle before the end of the year. And it's like that's not enough time to be a samurai.
No.
So he might have had a sword or whatever, but like we can call him the Black Samurai for like lore, but not he wasn't a samurai.
Yeah.
Because the training of not just the sword fighting, but you needed archery, you needed horseback riding, you needed the courtly presence, that kind of their like idea of the Renaissance man. You had to be gentlemanly and know all the customs, and like there's so much more than just like you put on some armor and you have a katana. Now you're a samurai. Like, so he wasn't a samurai. So I think that's why the government was like, all right, I guess we're fine. But Ubisoft came out with their like apology, and it was kind of long. But the one they said that like while Yasuke is depicted as a samurai in Assassin's Creed Shadows, we acknowledge this is a matter of debate and discussion. They said we've woven it into our narrative. And we strive for authenticity, but they admitted Assassin's Creed games are 100% works of fiction. Direct quote. Like, all right, we did kind of know that, but they're just admitting they're like, all right, we took some creative license. Sorry, don't hate us. So they're like backpedaling, but then also trying to like please buy our game.
Yeah.
So I think it was a fine response. His unique and mysterious life made him an ideal candidate to tell an Assassin's Creed story. I didn't really know anything about him.
Yeah, like
from the literature, again, it's just a black guy. The only black guy in Japan at that time was bought by a samurai. And then, his master died in a battle, and then he disappeared from history. So, like, sure, I guess he's mysterious. Again, it's just people were wanting a, like,
Japan game?
A Japanese, game. Assassin's Creed game set in Japan, but, at this rate, there's other games for that. So, Ghosts of Tsushima, which I haven't played, but I heard it was really good.
Yeah.
Probably fills that niche. So.
Yeah,
or Sekiro. Sekiro is another good one.
It's sad to see that these game companies are just.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to that
the earnings
call snippets, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, man, there was just some like they're like, yeah, these are the most highly anticipated games of the year. It's like, but are they?
I mean,
it's like, and also if I were a shareholder, which I'm not, and that was the response to my question about what are the pre-orders like,
call them out on the bullcrap.
It's like, okay, we would like to know what the pre-orders are like for this game.
This is an earnings call. I need to see some numbers.
I need to see some earnings.
Yeah.
And my guess is that the reason that wasn't shared was because they haven't sold any.
Yeah.
Or, very, very little.
Much. Yeah, because of all the backlash from Shadows, culturally and historically.
Star Wars Outlaws not having any Star Wars aspects.
Yes, and that's already been released, that they changed the original protagonist from male to female. And again, the assets, the gameplay footage that came out this week didn't look good, and we already saw the pre-order prices that look abysmal. You pay an extra $60 for 3 days early access or whatever.
Yeah.
So neither of their highly anticipated games look good, so I doubt their earnings call looked good.
No. Yeah, that's.
It is what
Trevor,
it is.
I'm telling you, we could start a video game company.
We could.
We know enough people that are nerdy enough to start writing a story. We could do a great video game. Hire a bunch of programmers to program the stupid thing.
And and that would be better. I think the era of AAA is done. So.
Yeah.
Get them out.
How long would it take to develop a good game?
Should be at least a year, probably.
Oh, I was thinking longer than that, but yeah. But like without like the bloat of like a big old fat company like Ubisoft, right?
Yeah, exactly. Where they take years and years.
Like,
year to two.
2 years. I was thinking like 2 years minimum to like from like conception to completed product, where it's like, okay, we got to have all the art assets drawn, we have to have all the whatever,
all the code.
whatever. Yeah.
Beta testing. It's got to be in there too. Yeah. Presumably by the time you're beta testing. No, yeah. I think if you're a small video game company, you're on one and you do it to finish. Maybe that's a definition of like AAA versus indie now. Of like, this is the only game you're working on until it's done, and then you probably need some post game support still before you start working on the next one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's a tough cycle because you're not getting paid for 2 years.
Yeah, you have to have investors to float the.
That's why microtransactions are kind of nice for that. You get some money to keep you afloat till the next game release. So it's definitely a tough market, but I think you need more like you need business people, but not like the corporate crap that you get from big companies. So you need business people who are also hobbyists, kind of running.
Yeah.
Also passionate.
I wonder if you could do it part-time.
You just like
offer someone who is like a hobbyist, a video game aficionado.
Yeah.
Offer them payment, obviously, but then like, hey, we don't have a full-time position, but if you wanted to like do like 10 hours a week, we could use an accountant for 10 hours a week.
Interesting. Yeah.
We could use a business director for 10 hours a week.
We can't afford to pay you a salary, but
like,
yeah, then you probably avoid some of the bloat, like
because
in a 40-hour work week,
dude,
that's not 40 hours of hard on.
No job that I've ever had that was salaried, not hourly, has been full of things for me to do.
40 hours, hit the paint, like we're just cranking out the work.
Yeah,
no, not really.
Like
there's always some bloat, and as a worker, you're usually kind of content with that. But
I hate it so much. The reason I hate it is because like if I get my work done, I should be able to go home.
Yes. Yeah.
Like if my work is done and I'm sitting there pretending to do work and I'm just on my phone, like just let me go home and F off.
That is pretty rough. Yeah.
Like, why do I have to sit at this desk and fill a seat and keep it warm for 8 hours?
Because you're showering.
When I'm doing 5 hours worth of work.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you should be doing 8 hours worth of work. It's like, what if I get it done quicker?
Yeah, and depending on the job, you're like, I don't have work to do, so.
And it's like, if you're going to give me more stuff, pay me more for the other responsibilities. Like, you hired me to do one job. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
That's a whole...
We can move on to our next topic. Do you mind pausing though, actually?
Yeah. All right.
We can talk Delicious in Dungeon on to
a good topic.
Our TV and movie
segment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Delicious in Dungeon.
It's a great show.
It is a
10 out of 10.
Is a pretty funny, pretty cool anime. Sorry.
The wings!
It's from Japan, but no, it's worth watching. Worth giving a watch. I even recommended it to my dad. Is it actually
from Japan?
Yeah.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a manga originally, a book, so a comic. But it's a really fun show. It's the premise, right? As you mentioned before, it's basically a D&D party.
Yeah.
They're just a party of adventurers. They're going in a dungeon, and the whole idea is they decided instead of bringing like rations to eat, they're just gonna kill monsters and eat them, which is like a fascinating concept in their world because there's a clear line between like animals and then monsters that only live in the dungeons. And so they're like eating monsters, and everyone thinks they're weird. But there's basically a cooking sequence on every episode, which is a blast. It's
2
really
or 3.
Cool.
Usually,
like the music comes in, and they're just like chopping up the. What are some of the things they eat?
The slimes.
Yeah, the slimes. They're like, yes, and then you got to boil it and add some salt. And I love the voiceovers of like the explanation.
Yeah,
they're doing it. Add some spices, like. and then it's like, "Da-da," and they like have the prepared meal in front of you. I'm like,
and it looks amazing. You're like, why does this animated food look
it
delicious?
looks so good. I would eat that. And then like there's a overarching story too that's actually convincing, and there's enough like fantasy elements to like, you know, capture that nerd of like that nerd feeling of like, yeah, there's elves and dwarves and magic, and they're off to fight a dragon. Yeah, I'm like, this feels cool. Like this appeals to me. The journey, the adventure.
Yeah. And they throw some twists and turns in there too, which is fun.
Totally, yeah. They only have the one season out right now, so I won't spoil anything because it's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, 100%.
Gotta go watch it. You're not a huge anime guy.
No, I'm not.
What's keeping your butt in the seat?
I think it's because the show knows what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It knows what type of show it is, and it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's not some like dark, edgy fantasy.
Yeah, it's like they're not trying to be dark and edgy and then also have like these cooking sequences.
Yeah.
It's like this fantasy world and they make funny jokes and there's funny characters and the characters always end up in funny positions and like they have to, wear frog skin. Yeah. It's like, okay, this is like
they're like is some action, some blood, but you're right. It never is like.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of action in every episode.
Yeah.
I mean, and the action sequences are fine.
Mm-hmm.
And,
most of the time it is kind of like a puzzle that they're always trying to solve. Like, yeah, as they're like, they get attacked by frogs and then like all the poison tentacles or poison plants or whatever. So then they're like, well, the frogs didn't get attacked. So in order to get through this area, we'll just wear the frog skins.
Yeah.
And then the plants leave you alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle. When they get like ambushed by orcs, instead of just like killing the orcs, they have to like negotiate with them basically.
And then they go have lunch.
And then they have lunch. It was great.
Yeah. And so like
they teach the orcs to make.
Yeah, it's just a show where it's like lighthearted and funny. It reminds me of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, right?
Okay, yeah.
Where it's like
kind of lighthearted.
Lighthearted.
There's like a serious story going on.
Yeah. There's a story. It's engaging. One of the things that I don't like about anime is that, like Dragon Ball Z, for example, there will be like 7 episodes of the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's like 3 hours of this one fight scene. And it's like some people love that. And like more power to you if you do. But like I could never watch One Piece as an anime.
All 1,000 episodes of it.
Because like stuff has to happen in your TV show.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to invest hundreds of hours sitting there to watch what could have been done in, like we saw, the Netflix TV show of One Piece, which was fantastic.
It's really good.
And they got through a bunch of the story.
They truncated it all down, yeah.
It's like...
That's definitely an old style of TV shows anyway, the weekly episode of like... You come home after school every Friday and watch the one episode a week. Oh, you gotta wait till next week to see the end of the fight. Whereas now it's the new formula. It's like, nah, just like people want to binge, but also they want, I don't know, content.
Yeah.
Not too much to ask. You want content in each episode.
Yeah, like something's got to happen, right? And like a filler episode every once in a while is not like a travesty.
Yeah.
You need to throw in some backstory about what's going to happen. Sure. Like that's fine.
A little extra exposition.
Yeah, no problem with that, right? But if it's like every second episode or even every 4th episode is a filler episode.
Old anime has filler arcs, Steven.
I know.
They have whole arcs of the show that were just filler.
And it's like if you can skip an entire episode and not miss anything, that episode shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
And this show doesn't do that.
Doesn't do it, no.
So far I've seen no filler episodes overall.
You won't. Yeah,
there have been some slower episodes where it's like there's a little bit more exposition and they're kind of like weaving more story in, which is acceptable.
Yeah,
completely fine, enjoyable. Yeah. I've
it's engaging.
Yeah, and Ryan and I, we watch it at night during we'll cook dinner and then watch our cooking show.
Your cooking show, yes.
And yeah. I think it would be really fun if they came out with like a Delicious in Dungeon cookbook.
A cookbook, absolutely. That's a really good idea.
That would be very fun for them.
Yeah. Like, yeah, here's the basilisk and man, what else? Yeah, the cockatrice, the dragon meat.
I mean, all of it you could do obviously without the exotic meats and stuff like that, but like most of it's like basic cooking technique that they use. But then
totally,
you could definitely do it.
Some of the just like the fantasy elements make it kind of fun, like the mandrakes, right? The plants that scream till you die when you pull them up. Like, oh, you got to cut them off at the neck first and then pull them up.
It's like, we'll just use a parsnip.
Yeah,
like,
oh, that looks basically the same.
Yeah,
it's fine. Oh yeah, that would be fun. I'm excited to see. I finished season 1. I'm excited to see more of it, but it's
how long is the manga?
I think it's all out already, which is always a good sign because then they don't need filler arcs or filler episodes. Yeah, so I don't actually know how long it is.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it a lot.
I heard season 2 already was like confirmed, already renewed. Netflix was gonna host it. So
yeah, I think it's a good one.
Delicious in Dungeon, worth a watch.
Definitely.
Again, I've recommended it to my dad, even though he's not an anime guy, really. So.
Yeah, it feels more like a cartoon than an anime.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, anime is cartoon, right? Technically, but it feels more like it definitely feels more like an Avatar: The Last Airbender than it does like Death Note.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the art style is also more Western than it is anime.
Feels, yeah. There's not really any like anime tropes that you get from other,
except for the annoying blonde.
So yeah, that's maybe more of an American trope. If it was an anime trope, she'd have
gazonkas,
massive gazongers,
bazooka,
and be extremely ditzy. She's only ditzy for like a couple episodes, and then she kind of she
complains quite a bit though.
So that's the thing. She stops complaining as much, really. So
she has it's tapered off, obviously, but. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like, it's fun.
It's fun. Again, I like seeing the Dungeons and Dragons elements.
There's a lot of D&D like feel to it.
The puzzle solving. Half the time when like they're like investigating, like, oh man, what's going on here? I'll be like, I know what monster that is from fantasy, and my wife will be like, what? You ruined the mystery or whatever. Like, how did you know that? I'm like, well, you see Dungeons and Dragons. I'd be like, oh yeah, you see that's a Kelpie and. It's like a water horse spirit, and they drag you down underneath to eat you. Which that was like the twist, because at the beginning of the episode, you thought the Kelpie was friendly, and I was like, nah, that thing's gonna try to eat you.
Yeah. And then they eat it.
And then they eat it.
Yeah.
They end up eating most things.
Everything.
Most monsters you see.
Shellfish.
Yeah, even the stuff you wouldn't expect.
Living armor.
Yeah, they eat it.
Which is it's a fun show.
The bugs, they eat the bugs.
The coin bugs.
Yeah, the treasure bugs. They were fun.
It's so good, it's so sweet.
Yeah, some of their like, really? I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
Depending on how you prepare it. Anything will taste good.
Yeah. And everyone's favorite character is obviously Senji.
Yeah, the dwarf who knows how to do all the cooking.
Like, he has to be your favorite.
Yeah,
right?
he's got the gif of him just like bread. I think he is a fan favorite online. He's pretty funny. I saw me when I entered Texas Roadhouse. bread.
Well, there was the one episode where they're like being really serious. They're trying to, I don't remember what it was, but they're trying to do something, and he just like starts baking bread. Yes. And they're like, "What?" And he's like, "Gotta have an empty stomach."
Yeah. He's like, this is a serious debate here. He's like, well, yeah, but you gotta have bread. I'm like, duh.
And it's like, man, that's reasonable.
He gets mad. The orcs are like raiding the storehouse or whatever, and they're like, oh man, what is this? And you can tell it's like a yeast.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh man, this is disgusting. And they're about to chuck it, and he gets so mad at them. He's like in handcuffs. He's their prisoner. He's like, don't throw that on the ground. We need that. We can make bread with that. And they're like, oh. Okay, fine.
Yeah, it's like a sourdough starter. Or something like that. Yeah.
The dwarf like rolls his intimidation check. The orcs don't throw the sourdough starter on the ground, I guess. It's just like a random thing the DM would throw in there. Like, oh yeah, and then they find like, flour and yeast or whatever. And the character's like, what? we can make bread. And DM's like, oh no, what have I done? I didn't mean to put that random detail in there that my players would latch onto.
No, it's like it's similar to like our last campaign we were trying to do. You know, we were doing the futuristic one, but I was trying to be the chef, right?
Sure.
That's Senshi is exactly the vibe I was going for.
Right, yeah.
You know, where it's like, oh yeah, I have a pot and I use it to cook, but also I use it to do anything else I want.
But also, you know, it's a shield. You can smack people with it.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's fun. Worth a watch. Good show. Highly recommend.
Good show.
Yeah. Next topic, we have the Olympics. Los Olímpicos.
The cluster.
Yeah.
That is the Olympics.
Paris 2024.
The gayest of the
Yeah. Was anyone surprised?
I was.
Actually, I was kind of.
I was appalled.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't expecting a ton, right?
No.
But like, I guess my thought was this. You look back at like the 2008 Beijing Olympics.
Yeah, I saw that clip again this
and you look and there's thousands of these drummers and they're drumming.
Cool.
And they've got all this traditional Chinese stuff, but it's mixed with like modernness, right? And it's like, oh yeah, like they have these beautiful robes, but like it's all very nice looking and it's like respectful and like a really good opening ceremony. It's a ceremony, right? And then you had
like welcome the world to
and then you have like Paris, which is one of the oldest cities in the world, one of the most historically relevant cities in the world. The history is so great there.
Yeah.
You have so much culture and art and stuff that comes out of Paris, right? For centuries. Like, you think of like knights and you think of like you either think of like London or France, right?
Totally.
Like and the French knights, and you have like the French battles that the French would fight, and
they
like,
could have come out with like they could have done like a dressage, like horses and knights. They could have had a full like 7 full orchestras doing like traditional music.
Oh, and like I think it would have been so cool is if the final torch had been born. I mean, they had like a night on like a techno night, right?
Yeah.
It was like the stupidest looking like tinfoil, like it was the biggest bullcrap ever. And then they had this. They could have had. It would have been so sick if they had like a full cavalry regiment in full ancient armor. Like
with the fleur-de-lis and everything.
With the French, with the big old headdresses, the plumes coming out, they're like lances, and the guy in the front's just carrying this massive torch, or the Olympic torch. And they're just like marching down, and then you have like the French symphonies playing, you know, whatever music, and it's just these like ancient battle soldiers in French traditional armor.
Think of that shot with the Eiffel Tower in the background, like boom.
Or the Arc de Triomphe.
Yeah. And
that like
Olympic logo over it.
Well, and then you have like, you think about like all like, you have Napoleon in that era, and it's like France had at one point was like the biggest powerhouse in Europe for like centuries.
Yeah.
And then what they decided to do,
we just came up with better ideas in 5 minutes on a couch. We're just 2 random guys from America.
Yeah.
And
whose knowledge of French history is not that deep.
It's pretty relatively minimal.
You know, like I know a little bit, but like France is not like my choice for my history nerdism.
But enough to understand their historical and cultural significance, impact.
Yeah. Like if Japan did it, for example.
Oh yeah.
I would expect to see taiko drums.
Yeah, totally.
And samurai. And beautiful dress gowns, right? And like France is still like the center hub for fashion in the West, and like they come out with like this tinfoil bullcrap, and then they have like, okay, disclaimer.
Yeah.
You can do what you want with your life,
right?
Whatever you want. I don't care. Anything. You can be gay. You can be trans. You can be asexual. You can do whatever you want.
Any of them.
I don't care.
Any of the letters.
I don't care. As long as you don't force me to care. If I can be non-caring for the rest of my life, I don't care what you do. But the moment you try to make me care, I have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Guess what they did, Trevor?
I saw.
They made me try to care.
They did, yeah.
And guess what? I don't care.
Yeah. It was kind of.
They had this grown whatever he wants to call himself, what appeared to me to be a man, because he had a full-fledged beard, dancing around in what I could call lingerie.
Yeah, it was in a banana hammock. He was basically wearing a thong. And that's all he was wearing.
With body paint.
Yeah, with body paint. Yeah.
Dancing around and singing whatever bullcrap he was singing.
Yeah.
It's like this was what we decided. This was the French history that we wanted to present. This is the French culture that we wanted to present.
Welcome to the Olympics, guys, the greatest sporting event. So here's a naked dude.
We chose this instead of the French culture and history that we all love and know from like history. It's like,
very
okay,
interesting choice there.
Yeah.
Is he a big French?
I have no clue.
Celebrity? Yeah, I don't know.
But then you had like the opportunity to do like French operatic singing from the 17 and 1800s. And guess what? They didn't do a lot of that.
It wasn't that. Well, and then he was in front of something else, and you saw that. I saw the comparison. I think it was intentional. It was basically like
the Last Supper thing.
Yeah. Drag Queen Last Supper.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrendous.
Wait, you're just. Oh, okay.
You have the bet.
You're just emulating Jesus Christ. Okay, like that's It's a drag queen. I'm not okay with that.
It's an affront to your culture.
Yeah, it really is.
You have some of the most beautiful cathedrals, Catholic cathedrals. It's such a mess.
That we did like fat drag queen Last Supper in front of the naked dancing guy. It was weird.
Like
I expected better of you, friends.
Like, why don't we why?
This is the Olympics. This isn't like high school play.
Why don't we have like some of the historical aspects that are so cool and so French? Like, show me military regiments from like your heyday to like World War I. Show me like something about the cuisine that France is so known for. Show me something about the architecture of your country. Show me something about the great things that your country has exported.
Yeah.
Like
the music.
When the American group walks in or gets voted in or whatever, how about you have a beautiful rendition of like the Statue of Liberty?
Sure.
Which, guess what? For those of you who didn't know, is French.
It came from France.
It was built by the French. It's like you gave America something that Americans use to define America. When the Americans walk in, why aren't you proud of that?
Yeah.
And instead we get brave and wonderful and gorgeous drag queens.
Like
son of a whore, shoot me now.
Yeah, it's weird.
Are you kidding me?
It's weird. It's like, yep, I'm not trying to say anything hateful or be hateful, and I'm not, and I won't. But like, couldn't we have done better? This is the Olympics.
Not only couldn't we have done better, they should have done better.
They should have done better. Like, this is a worldwide event. This is what I meant. Like, come on, guys. This is literally the big leagues. This is the Olympics, and this is the production quality you're giving us. Like, I won't be picking France to host Olympics anytime soon.
Salt Lake just got chosen again.
I saw that, yeah, for the two more down the line.
Yeah, 2032, I think. Because 26. Oh, no, 2030.
2030, okay, because they're doing winter again?
It's every 4 years for each one, but they're offset by 2 years.
By 2 years, right?
Right.
Yeah,
so 2026
winter last time, like
in China. Ago. Again.
No, sorry, I meant Salt Lake has done it previously.
They have done it previously.
Yeah.
19.
No, it was 2002.
2002.
It'd have to be a multiple of 4, wouldn't it? 2004.
No, it doesn't have to be a multiple of 4 because
okay.
It doesn't matter. Because 2026 will be the Winter Olympics somewhere else.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
Anyway, they've done it before.
Yeah.
1996?
No. Pretty sure I was alive for it.
All right. Well, Trevor, we're looking it up.
All right. I'm pretty sure it was post 9/11. How about that? That was weird when I found out some of my coworkers are post 9/11. I was like, wait, what? That's actually Gen Z. It's weird. I've never met one in the wild.
It's just pulling up all the new stuff. 2002.
2002.
I was right.
Oh, yeah. Okay, your first guess. Spot on.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Olympics.
They're also away from the culture aspect. Well, away from the Western culture aspect. That might have been a little bit racist once you hear what I'm about to say. But I swear I'm not. I just bumped the camera.
Oh,
there we go. Two things have happened. One, the train system, the high-speed rail system that runs through France and Paris and stuff like that. All the lines got cut and burned by a terrorist group. Or they didn't call them a terrorist group yet, but like that's a terror. Like that's
domestic terrorism. Like that's by definition.
Yeah,
you're attacking the infrastructure of the country.
Yeah, and I saw that 800,000 people were not stranded in the train stations, but like stuck. Stuck in the train stations, right?
800,000. Wow.
Yeah. Because people are already there for the Olympics, right?
Yeah. It brings in tons of tourism. Yeah. So, in addition to some of the, I guess all the athletes already have their like Olympic village, but like,
such a crap hole too.
Right, but there's probably like support, like staff and stuff.
100%. Well, and all of the events aren't in one spot either, right? Like you have the cycling events that are like all over the place.
Okay, yeah. So maybe some of the athletes even need to use those trains.
Yeah, for sure.
Get around.
So
not just the viewers.
So there's that, which was like, come on, guys, like you're hosting the Olympics and we can't have better security.
Yeah, just a little bit of security on your public transit.
Yeah.
Those domestic terrorists suck, and they're dumb. They're bad people.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, that is unfortunate.
And then the other thing, well, there actually is two more things that are hilarious. One of them is actually, in my opinion, hilarious.
Okay.
And it's the river. Have you heard about this?
Didn't hear about this.
So they're doing all the swimming events in the Seine.
Okay,
in the Seine. Seine?
I've heard it pronounced both ways.
Seine.
Depending on
in the big river that runs through Paris.
The Seine.
Right? That runs around Paris?
Yeah.
Because the center of Paris is on, like, the old Paris is on, like, an island.
Right, it's like a circle.
In the middle of the Seine. And then it's kind of just like growing out of that.
Grows around it, yeah.
But they're doing the swimming events in the river. And it's not a clean river.
It's in the middle of the city.
It's a pretty gross river.
Yeah.
But the mayor and the president of France were like, we're going to clean it up.
Okay.
And so they were trying to clean it up. Didn't work. But a week ago, I think it was about a week ago, the mayor of Paris and some other people were like, of course it's clean. We're going to go swimming. And so they went and swam in it.
No way.
No head under the water or anything like that, but they were, swimming in this disgusting river.
The mayor.
And first of all, if you can't get it clean, there has to be another pool that you can use.
Yeah.
There has to be a pool in Paris somewhere that is big enough for the Olympics.
Right? Like, I find somewhere
just go to
else.
Like a college.
Find somewhere else to do the long distance ones.
I don't know.
I guess, but
the funny part though was that there was a group that was so pissed that they weren't able to clean the river, and they knew that the mayor was going to go swimming on a certain day, so they went upstream and calculated the flow of the river. And at a certain day, they all pooped in the river.
Oh my goodness!
So that it would wash down and be like right in that area when the mayor was swimming in it.
I mean,
let me tell you, the French know how to protest.
Of all the things you could have done, I thought they were gonna like send down like an inflatable like duck with like a billboard with their message like "Stop the hate" or whatever, whatever their political message was. So it would go through the cameras right then. But I guess that works too, as a protest.
Much easier to intercept a giant inflatable duck than it is lots of human feces,
turds in the river.
Especially since they haven't been able to clean it up anyway.
Yeah, and people are allowed to just take a dump in the river.
Apparently. So yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Found that very funny.
The mayor is trying to do like a big PR thing, like, look, I'm swimming in the river.
Turd.
It's very clean.
The other thing, which is very sad, so when the Olympics happens, every country that participates, or I don't know if it's every single country, but like
at least the big ones.
Well, a huge number of the countries that participate send over police to help police the event.
They like
right?
donate.
So yeah, and like it's been all over social media, like, and they always all like dress up in their full, it's not just like their regular blues,
the full uniform.
It's like the full, like they got the NYPDs over there, or some of the members of the NYPD. They have some of the LA police, Chicago police, like some of the more like famous police departments from the US.
So they're wearing their medals.
They got their medals and their dress uniforms. They got their little like caps on.
Again, we're professional. This is a professional world.
And it's been really cool because like there's been a bunch of people going over and like taking pictures of all these cops, and it's like the cops from Qatar. They're in like all their uniforms are like very distinct, but very cool. Yeah. You got all the Qatar cops, and they got like their nice like trimmed beards. You've got like the Indian ones with their Sikh turbans and stuff like that. Yeah. You've got, Mounties from like Canada over there.
Okay, yeah, they have the red, right?
Their big old red stuff.
Red uniform.
It's like really cool. Like it's really cool.
Hey, again, that's a cool part of the culture to see. Like, point of the Olympics, everyone coming together,
and they're all working together to try to keep the peace. But unfortunately, Paris is just a crap hole of a city.
Yeah,
and I can say that because I've been there.
I've heard that from people who have been there.
Me? So I went there in 2018. Pre-COVID. Mm-hmm. And everything's gone downhill since then, obviously. But
I've heard Paris is not a clean city. Anyway.
It's not. It's the grossest city. Not the grossest. That's a lie. I've been to some pretty gross cities.
But it's dirty.
It's not very overhyped.
Yeah, sure.
It smells like piss all the time.
Nice.
It's gross.
Nice.
But there was an unfortunate travesty of a young woman who was there for the Olympics, visiting for the Olympics.
To watch. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tours.
Who was out, experiencing
the city
at night, and got gang raped by a group of 5 guys.
Oh my goodness.
And the police are like, we don't know what happened. And it wasn't like on the outskirts of Paris where she shouldn't have been. It was like in the Olympic part of the city. And it's like, we have so many cops.
There's so
what
much
are we doing? What are we doing here, guys?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Like,
she's alive. Like, okay, yes. That's how she reported it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness.
But it's like two thoughts for me. It's like, one, how do you let that happen during the Olympics with a gazillion police officers?
Should be eyes everywhere,
right? Second, if you're a Frenchman doing that, or someone who lives in France, why would you do that during the Olympics? And bring such, like, if that happened any other day of the week, and this is horrible that it doesn't get
anytime.
It's horrible anytime, right? I'm not trying to like downplay the horrendousness of the act.
Yeah.
But like every time that if this had happened and it wasn't the Olympics, no one else in the world would know.
We wouldn't have heard about it, yeah.
It would have been a French reporting thing and but now because it's the Olympics, everyone knows, and it's like, hey, you guys are so dumb.
Okay, yeah, we're sending our athletes and tourist people to go watch the Olympics, and you can't even protect them in that city. Like, come on.
I don't know. It's just,
you're right. It sucks any time, any day of the week, but like, all eyes are on France right now. So
yeah, let me tell you, they're not performing very well.
No. I already had a couple events over the weekend, or
I don't mean about the event performance.
Just France
is dropping the ball on this one.
I thought you meant like as a home country, they do not have home field advantage.
Yeah, I have no clue.
I didn't think events started until tomorrow. Maybe
I think they've started like some of like the tournament style ones, like the basketball, the soccer, stuff like that, where it takes a long time.
They got to get through those ones.
Yeah, because I think the men's basketball has already started like a week or two ago.
Oh wow, really?
Well, and I assume the women's did as well. And I know soccer was on yesterday.
Soccer started, yeah.
So, anyway, it's unfortunate, and we'll see what we'll
see. We got 2 to 3 weeks of sports watching.
Yeah,
cool stuff. Favorite event from the Olympics, since we're on the topic. We'll move on to happier things.
The ones that I watch.
Yeah, the ones.
My family always used to watch the swimming, but I was never like, I was like, okay, I'll watch like Michael Phelps win.
Sure, yeah.
But like other than that, I don't give a crap about the swimming, really, to be honest.
I don't even. Do we even have any big names in this year?
I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't
I have
know.
no clue. I'll watch like the fighting sports a bunch.
Yeah. Okay.
They do the judo is always super cool.
Oh yeah, I should watch some judo.
The judo is good. The taekwondo is cool. The wrestling, obviously.
I love the wrestling.
The
Definitely going to be
The
watching.
fencing. The fencing is always a good time.
I've seen some of that. Yeah.
The diving is impressive
Okay.
a lot of the time. I'll watch some of like the throwing events in the track and field.
Okay.
Especially like recently, there's been like a bunch of big, chonky guys throwing rocks real far.
Yeah, I do like the hammer throw. That one's pretty fun to watch. Like, oh,
yeah,
that could kill somebody.
Yeah.
The technique. I like watching the technique.
The shot put's fun to watch for me. Yeah. I mean, I don't have like a favorite one. Okay. I might not even watch those like live. I might just wait until the
just watch some highlights
come out. Of, I'm not gonna watch every single wrestling match.
No. There's like a decent amount of like watch parties scheduled at my work, so I might watch some. I might watch some random event if it's just like, hey, here,
get off of work.
Get off of work. Go watch some Olympics. Sure, gymnastics, my favorite.
Everyone's always into the gymnastics and stuff like that, and I'm like,
I don't really care for the gymnastics.
But Simone Biles is so good. It's like she can be great.
She can be. It's not for me.
I don't know what's going on.
It's just judges.
Yeah.
So they're just dancing around, and the judges know the points. People in that sport know the points. Like, oh wow, that she did the double helix flip, and I'm like, I mean, I think this girl looked better, but she scored lower. So what do I know? Yeah. Whereas like at combat sport, you're like, oh, I know who's winning this one.
Yeah.
Or anything that has points, that's obvious, like basketball, soccer. Like, okay, I know who's winning this one.
Yeah.
The gymnastics, I don't know, it's just judges. So that's like, I do like diving because I guess I like seeing the styles on that one, but similar thing of like, I don't know how they score. Like,
yeah,
some of the flips look cool. All right.
Yeah, like the diving, I don't know how it scored either, but like it looks cool. It's like impressive. You're falling. It's like when you watch someone cliff jump.
Yeah,
it's like,
oh, that's cool.
That was cool.
Some cool technique, I guess.
Yeah. Like jumping off of a big old tall platform and you dive in perfectly. It's like after doing like, it's pretty. It's pretty cool. But
I definitely like wrestling. I'll watch some of that. It's one of my favorites. I'll probably watch some of the shooting events, but my favorite, I don't know if they have any like a equal event in the Summer Olympics. My favorite one is actually the Winter Olympics.
Biathlon?
Yeah, when they're skiing and then you have to shoot, so you're swaying and you're breathing heavy. Like I want to see you shoot when you're exhausted.
I don't think they have any of that in this one. They have the skeet shooting and the trap shooting.
Yes.
The clay pigeon, the shotgun shooting.
See, my problem with that is like at the professional level in shooting, it's just like I forget if this one's summer or winter. They have the like just the 22 pistol and you just pew 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 pew.
I think that's summer.
Everyone does like, okay, you hit the bullseye 5 times. Everyone does that. Like,
yeah,
everyone's so good. So that's why I like the.
It's like they're shooting the clays and it's like, it's 2 birds every time and it's like, boom boom. All right, you got both of them.
I got them.
All right, they all got both of them again.
They should all get.
They all got both of them again.
They're all
and again and again and again and again and again and again. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I like shooting, but competitive shooting sometimes is like, I need another element to spice it up, you know.
There's a guy on TikTok who his videos are great. He always just like he takes these sports, any sport, and he's like, he acts like a drunk like billionaire, like trying to create new sports.
Nice.
And he's just explaining real sports.
It's just satire on
real sports. And he goes. Yes, let us do a shooting event. And his like little like secretary's like, yes, a shooting event. Yes, a shooting event. Let's do it with the small caliber rifles in the winter, so the competitors are cold. And he's got like his martini or whatever. The guy's like, okay, like we can do that. It's like, let's make it on a mountain. Let's put it on a mountain. Yes, on a mountain. Okay.
Mountain shooting.
Let's make them ski. Let's make them ski at the same time. It's like, wait, what?
Okay.
Yes, let's make them ski. And let's make the target small.
It does sound ridiculous. Yeah.
The secretary's like, so we're going to have a skiing event with guns on a mountain. It's like, yes, but they're not downhill skiing. They're cross-country skiing, so they're very tired and exhausted.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to have tired shooters on skis shooting.
Uh-huh.
Yes. It's like, okay. Okay.
Sounds like a good time.
He does that for like all the sports. My favorite ones are like his F1 racing.
Oh, nice.
He's like,
we're going to have you turn left and then turn left again.
We'll make cars and they'll be a top tier engineering. They'll cost millions of dollars.
Uh-huh.
And we'll crash them every week.
Yes. Right.
And also the drivers. You're going to be very tiny like horse jockeys.
Yeah.
But their necks are going to be massive like watermelon.
That's funny. Yeah.
He does it for like a bunch of different sports.
That's pretty good.
It's very, very funny.
That's clever.
And it's like when you like break down some of the sporting events, it's like, yeah, that's
We're going to put the ball in the goal. Genius.
but there's about a gazillion ways to do it.
Yes, right. Like you can invent basically any number of ways.
He does a hockey one where he goes, we're going to play soccer on the ice.
On ice.
With sticks. And also football pads.
Yeah.
Oh, and also you're on the ice, but you have razor blades attached to your feet.
Mm-hmm. That's an important element. You need the blade.
And you're allowed to fight.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. We have guys in armor with razors on their feet and clubs.
And clubs, yep.
And where's the ball supposed to go? It's not a ball. It's a hard rubber puck.
Why do they need a ball? I think we already have an event here, sir. We already got something going for us. Just ice battle. I'd watch that.
Dude, some of those guys, like, have you seen some of like the hits that they hit?
Yeah.
They're like just because I didn't realize how quick you can get going on ice skates in such a small distance.
Well, and it is like a small arena.
Yeah, they're very small, very small.
Kind of impressive. It's not really a big sport here, but yeah, seeing some hockey, I've never seen it in real life, but seeing it online, you're like, it's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive sport. What you can do with that.
Yeah. Anyway,
just about done here. We'll go on to Magic Card of the Week.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Magic Card of the Week. I got a fun one for you. I do have this one in a deck, so I don't know if you've seen it before. I bring up this Magic Card of the Week because in the past it was regarded as one of the wordiest cards in Magic the Gathering. Like
it's got like what, 7 words?
Well, so that's why I bring it up, because compared to Magic cards today, especially some of these like commanders from Bloomborough, it's just multiple paragraphs.
Yeah.
It's just needlessly overcomplicated. This one, people thought was needlessly overcomplicated because of the sheer amount of words, but actually the modern text is really simple. Or as far as what the card does is actually really simple, but it over-explains for the purposes of the game.
Sure.
So, and this is from Ice Age, which is the 4th Magic the Gathering set, like 1994.
Oh, wow.
And it's called Ice Cauldron.
Cool.
And again, I'm gonna read the old one, so bear with me. It's a little lengthy, but compared to some of the newer cards,
okay,
I think it's about the same. So it's a 4-mana artifact. You pay X and tap. It's got 2 activated abilities.
Oh, wow.
So the first one is pay X, tap, put a charge counter on Ice Cauldron. And exile. Okay, no, I'll just read. Put a charge counter on Ice Cauldron, and put a spell card face up on Ice Cauldron. Before they had exile, so I can read the modern text after. Note the type and amount of mana used to pay this activation cost. Use this ability only if there are no charge counters on Ice Cauldron. You may play that spell card as though it were in your hand. That's the first activated ability. The second activated ability is just tap. Remove the charge counter from Ice Cauldron to add mana of the type and amount last used to put a charge counter on Ice Cauldron to your mana pool. That mana is usable only to cast the spell on top of Ice Cauldron.
Whoa.
I'll let you ruminate for a second on that while I pull up the...
So you just have to remember how much mana you, like... That's interesting.
Yeah, so the new text for people who played Magic the Gathering in the past 2 decades, this makes a lot more sense since they came up with Exile since then. It's pay X, tap, you, : You may exile a non-land card from your hand. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. Put a charge counter on Ice Cauldron and note the type and amount of mana spent to pay this activation cost. Activate only if there are no charge counters on Ice Cauldron. And then tap remove a charge counter from Ice Cauldron. Add Ice Cauldron's last noted type and amount of mana. Spend this mana only to cast the last card exiled with Ice Cauldron. In a nutshell, it has to be weird for the rules of the game, but in a nutshell, you're just paying a card's mana cost, exiling it from your hand, and then at a later turn, at a later point, you can cast it for free. Because you already paid the mana of that spell.
You're just banking a card.
You're just banking a card. You take it from your hand and you just put it in exile, and then you can cast it from exile later. Because you have to tap the artifact twice. Mm-hmm. That's what it does. In the rules, it's pretty simple.
It's a pretty cool card.
Yeah.
What deck is it in of yours?
My Cast from Exile deck.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The red-green, because I can just bank a card there for later.
Makes sense.
And get a free, because every time I cast a thing from exile, I get a wolf.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
Lengthy card, Ice Cauldron, but I think it's pretty cool. Compared to like newer cards that are like, when you attack, you do this, and then you got to do that, and then you... Like, okay. Oh, and then the second paragraph. All right. Okay, yeah. Whereas this one is lengthy, but it's just...
I mean, it's simple compared to like a bunch of other different cards.
You're just casting a card.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It's a bank. You just cast... It's a bank card.
So, and it's got a creepy like witch... I'll zoom in on the art for you. Ice Cauldron, so it can show it up on screen.
Ooh, that is a creepy witch.
Yeah, right? She's got like a mouse over her cauldron.
There's a lot of text, actually.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Back then, it did
4 mana,
take up the whole
and then
box.
you pay...
Then you have to pay whatever the spell's mana cost is.
Yeah.
But it's repeatable. I don't think it saw really any play back in Ice Age, but it was renowned for players back then of like, oh, Ice Cauldron, card is so long.
And now you have cards that are like twice that long.
Yeah, they have to squeeze the text. We have to change enters the battlefield to enters so we can fit in more words.
And just put 2 more words in there.
We need more complicated mechanics, more words. Get in there.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah. So there you go.
That's a good one. It's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else we want to finish on? Is that it?
That's it. It's all
Alrighty. There she is.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of the 5G Podcast.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more.
And we'll see you next time.
Thanks.